What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got my first franchise review. I did a couple of haphazard franchise reviews back like last October when my channel first opened about a year ago, and I decided that I wanted to start doing full-fledged franchise reviews, taking famous horror franchises like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Psycho, Saw, Scream, Hellraiser, stuff like that, and go movie by movie, talk about each movie, and rank them from worst to best. So today I decided to kick this thing off. I'm wearing a bunch of horror icons on my shirt, but I've got my buddy Jason over here. Jason and Michael are tied 1 and 2 for my favorite slasher villains of all time, and probably the most consistent series of all time. So I wanted to bring you guys my review and ranking of the 11 Friday the 13th movies. So I'll be counting backwards from 11 to 1, ranking from worst to best the Friday the 13th franchise. Now, this includes parts 1 through 8, includes Jason Goes to Hell, includes Jason X, and includes the remake as well. So I'm including all the original Friday the 13th movies, plus the remake. I'm not including Freddy vs. Jason. I'm not counting that as canon to the Freddy or Jason series individually, but I will say this, I did quite enjoy that movie. I thought it was very good. I thought the story was done well. I thought, Ronnie, you did a good job. And I really enjoyed the battle scenes. They were kind of sci-fi-ish and kind of silly at times, but I really enjoyed seeing Jason in Dream World, seeing Freddy in Crystal Lake. And again, the direction was good. The story was good. I really enjoyed that movie. So that would be fairly high, so somewhere in the middle of this list, if it was part of my list. But I want to rank the 11 original movies now for you guys. And I won't go into too much detail about who directed each one, who produced each one, who was in the cast. You guys know most of those things already. I'm just going to give my personal overview and opinion of each movie. So starting at number 11, ranking the 11 Friday the 13th movies. Number 11, my least favorite in the series. I couldn't be bothered to even bring this title downstairs from my collection because it's that bad. Jason X. Most hardcore fans know how bad this movie is. You know already why I hate it. It was just sort of filling time between Freddy vs. Jason and Jason Goes to Hell. It was just sort of there to remind us of who Jason was. It takes the sci-fi horror comedy thing a little too goofy. It doesn't ride the fine line at all. It's just too silly. There's talking heads. There's Jason in space. Anytime you take a killer to space, you guys know how bad it can be, and it really was. Nothing good about this movie at all besides the sleeping bag kill when Jason is back for like 10 seconds in Crystal Lake in his dream. Other than that, there's not much good about this movie. There is an awesome kill, though. The cryogenic freezing head kill where he sticks the girl's head in the liquid and then bashes it against the counter. That's awesome. There are a couple of good intense kills here from Space Jason, but this movie is really stupid. The plot's lame. The jokes aren't funny. It's too cheesy. And it's not real Jason. Space Jason is not real Jason. So that is my number 11 least favorite in the series. I would rank that one somewhere in like the 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10 range. Don't see it if you have the chance. Number 10, my 10th favorite Jason movie, is the Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. Again, I like my Jason to be Jason. I like it to be the standard killer we know and love from Part 2 on. This was just a really silly way to kill him off. They had this mythical legend all of a sudden about Jason being able to be stabbed in the heart by this mystical dagger from a relative. So they brought Jason's sister into it, who wasn't part of the rest of the series. They brought in this mystical dagger was what killed him. So that was kind of lame. And also he jumps body to body via eating his heart. People take turns transferring his heart from person to person and eating his heart. And that's how Jason becomes transmitted, so different people become Jason. So the whole movie, it's not Jason. Jason is killed, blown up in the first 5 minutes, and then he comes back and in different bodily forms throughout. But then in the last 15 minutes of the movie, he magically is reassembled and rebuilt back into original Jason again. And it's like, why couldn't you just have him the entire time? So they made up this convoluted backstory about him having a sister and about the way she kills him. And also, he's not really in most of the movie. It's just random people transferring his heart. So it's like too much sci-fi, not enough Jason. I don't care much for it. I think Jeffrey Katz directed, and I like Jeffrey Katz as a person a lot, but I didn't like this direction here. Not a fan of this way to go in the series. Number 9 was the remake. I did not dislike this. This is where the movies start getting pretty solid from here on up. I do like all the remaining 9 movies. And again, this wasn't anything special. It was just sort of a reimagining. Basically, it was the first 4 films put together into one. It starts off with Jason's mother. They have little flashbacks. Jason actually has somebody held captive in the series. It's the girl who plays an Arrow. She's pretty good in this. He holds her captive thinking she's his mother because she wears the sweater. They go through and they have Jason get the mask from part 3. They do a lot of different kills and things from the 4 parts of the series. This was okay. This was solid. It was one of the better remakes probably in the last 10 years, but it still wasn't a standout at all. Nothing really reinventing the wheel here about Jason. Again, it was cool that they put all 4 parts kind of in this one movie. And the new cast really isn't bad. They're kind of wooden. There's not a lot of depth to the characters in this movie. But Jared Padalecki does a nice job. Ariel Kebbel, I think, is in this movie. Does a nice job. Again, Laura Lance from Arrow. I can't think of her name right now. But she does a really nice job in this movie as well. It sort of tells the story of a brother coming back to find his sister, who Jason has held captive, thinking she's his mother. And them trying to find her and trying to band together throughout the movie. Most of the characters, like I said, are kind of one-dimensional, though. Besides those 3 main characters, the 2 protagonists and the captured sister, besides those 3, the rest of them are all kind of just one-dimensional, lame, teenage, sex-ridden, dickish characters. So not much depth there. But again, this is an easy watch. It's a fast movie. And Jason is more intelligent in this movie. He's quicker. So there are good things about this. But it wasn't Kane Hodder, so there's some nostalgia points off. And again, this was just sort of riding the line. It was fine. It was good for what it was. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything stand out. I can't even recall many moments of the film that I can tell you guys because it was just sort of there. So it was good, but it was not special. Part 8, my 8th favorite movie on this series, is actually Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. This was really well done overall. I liked a lot of this. The envision of it was a lot bigger than it actually came out. It was supposed to be basically Jason in Manhattan the entire time, and because of the budget, it was not. It wound up being Jason in Manhattan for about the last 20 minutes of the movie. The idea is a bunch of kids are going on a senior cruise, like a senior trip for graduation, and the kids and their chaperones are out on this boat, and Jason basically is in Crystal Lake. Attached himself to this boat and winds up taking off to New York. Crystal Lake and New York, not close together in real life, but movie magic makes it happen in 20 minutes. Jason goes from Crystal Lake to New York. Whatever. But essentially there's one little girl who is afraid of the water who met Jason when she was younger. She re-encounters him here. She's the protagonist. She does a pretty good job. I like her in this movie. But again, it's a little silly. I do like the visuals here of Jason being standing in Times Square, running into the New York millennials kicking over the jukebox, seeing the hockey mask of his face on the billboard, running through the New York diner and getting some classic New York lines in there. I really enjoyed some of those things. The way they killed him was kind of lame. Using toxic waste, having him revert back to being a baby and kind of getting morphed by this sludge and destroyed. That was kind of a lame ending. Aside from the fact that it wasn't really taking place in New York, and the ending was kind of bad. The rest of it's good. The cast was okay. The leaders in the cast were really good. The story was pretty solid, paint by numbers. Jason murders guys on a boat. There were some cool kills here. Kane Hodder did a nice job as Jason. The disco kill, lifting up in the air, was cool. The boxing scene on the roof where the guy gets his head knocked off, that was awesome. There was some good stuff in this movie. Jason having his head in the seaboard, the window, was nice. So again, lame ending and lame not being in New York, but other than that, good movie. I enjoyed this. Part 7 on my list, number 7 on my list, is Part 5, A New Beginning. And this was overall a really good movie. Danny Steinman gets a lot of crap for it, and I can see why. I guess he wasn't easy to work with. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie, except for the one big thing. You all know what I'm talking about. Jason, once again, is not Jason. Jason is ambulance driver Roy, and that's lame. We like our Jason to be Jason in this series. A New Beginning was done very, very well overall. Tommy Jarvis was in it. I really enjoyed him going to the halfway house sort of cabin with other people that need help with things. You saw a lot of depth to the kind of the challenge characters. You see their struggles. You see the visions of Jason in Tommy's head. I liked all that. The kills were cool. Them being in the cabin and secluded in that Crystal Lake style area was really cool. The one thing I didn't like about the movie was that in the end, Jason winds up having the blue streaks on his mask instead of the red. Jason winds up being Roy, the ambulance driver, who pulls up early in the movie and sees that his mentally challenged son has been killed. So he comes back to take vengeance on the kids that tormented and killed him. So he comes back and he winds up being Jason. So once again, all the scenes are cool, the environment's cool, the movie is fast-paced and well done, and everything else is good about it. But in the end, when Jason's not Jason, you got to deduct the movie, and it's a huge letdown for fans. So overall, I liked it, but the last 10 minutes killed it for me. So that's part 7 for me. Number 6 on the list is part 3, Jason in 3D. The last 6 of these are all very good movies. I recommend all 6 of these. I didn't give my rankings for the other ones. Again, Jason Goes to Hell 2 out of 10. Or I'm sorry, Jason X 2 out of 10. Jason Goes to Hell 3 out of 10. The remake, I would say 5 out of 10. Jason Takes Manhattan, 5 out of 10. A New Beginning, I would say 5 out of 10 again. Number 6 on my list is Part 3 3D. I recommend all 6 of these. These are all very good movies. This was paint by numbers, sort of, but there's some cool things about this. The yo-yo shot, the tossing of the wallet. They use the 3D effects very well, very ahead of its time in this movie. Not a whole lot I can say besides in this one, Jason finally gets his mask. The iconic moment of getting the mask and putting it on. Using the shooter gun to knock the guy's eye out is amazing. So again, the kills in this are really cool. I do like Dana Kimmel in this as the survivor who winds up seeing Jason again for the second time in her life. That's really well done. The guy who plays Jason in this, I think it was it Ted White? No, it was Richard Brooker, I believe, was Jason in Part 3. I didn't like a lot of the way he moved. He moved a little wooden. He had a couple of random shoot-ups. I think it was just to accentuate the 3D, but I didn't like the way he moved in this overall. Other than that, the leading lady was very good. The getting the mask was great. The background characters were better in this than a lot of the other ones. And, so overall, very good. I would give this a 6 out of 10. Part 5 in my rankings, I keep saying part, I'm sorry, number 5 in my rankings is Part 2, the original sequel, where we finally see Jason for the first time. I didn't like that he killed Alice off early in the movie so easily. He disposed of her in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Contractually, there was something with her contract or something. But he kills her off. I didn't like that. Other than that, very good movie. I loved Jenny in this, the 2 main camp counselors. I can't think of the main guy's name in this, but Jenny was one of the best protagonists, sole survivor final girls in the entire series. In horror at the time, too. I really loved her in this. She was great. And Jason walking around, being very strong, very fierce. I like the way he was portrayed in this movie. Some of the kills are really good. You get it all back to camp. You get the guy around the campfire telling the Jason legend, hyping the story, which was great. So overall, I really enjoyed this. Great sequel, one of the better sequels in the annals of horror. I would give this one a 6 out of 10 as well. You know what? We'll say 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10 for Part 2. Really enjoyed this. My number 4 ranking, and again, these final 4 are my favorites. I love all 4 of these so much. Number 4 ranking on this is Part 7, A New Blood. This is the first Jason I ever owned on VHS. It's the first Jason I actually ever saw with my mom, playing it downstairs in the living room, and I came down kind of curious, fun, scared, wondering what it was. I love A New Blood. This was well directed. We need to see the full cut of this. Everyone knows this was hacked to pieces by the MPAA. This was toned down majorly, and the director's cut is destroyed and cannot be found. So we're never going to see the full cut of this. But I love the cut we got anyway. I love the Jason meets Carrie thing, the psychic moving stuff around. The final battle with Jason in this is great. I love the chemistry, even though we're told there is no chemistry between the main girl and the main guy in this. I can't think of their names right now. But I love their interplay with each other. I love the bitchy character in Tina. Okay, Tina's the main girl. I love the bitchy character in the movie. I love Dr. Cruz being the exploitative jackass that gets killed with the saw blade thing. That's great. All the kills in this are good. Them fighting down to the basement, setting Jason on fire, blowing up the entire house. Kane Hodder's debut as Jason. Just the whole psychology of the backstory, the father coming out of the water. I love all of that. This movie is great. The effects are great. It's a good way to blend horror comedy and make it still stay serious. I'm just a fan of this entire movie. The cast is good. I love the setting in this movie. I would recommend this wholeheartedly. I give this one a 7 out of 10 for number 4 on this list. Part 7 of New Blood. 7 out of 10. Go check this out, guys. Number 3, my top 3, here we go. Number 3 on my list is the original, Part 1. This might be a surprise to you guys. The original one, so iconic and so classic, is number 3 on my list. But there's a reason for it. I really enjoyed this. Jason's mother was a great surprise MacGuffin at the end. Having a lady be the killer and having it be a surprise and not who you expect is great. I love the fact this is so iconic and so ahead of its time and spawned all these sequels. I love the work in this of his mother. I love all the campers. I love Alice in this movie. Just the quintessential camp movie. If you think of a slasher camp film, this is it. The kills are great. I love the opening sequence. I love Crazy Ralph being the foreboding harbinger, being the guy to come in with all the hype and all the scary, you're all doomed. I love the lines in this movie. I love everything in this movie. This is great. Just everyone knowing who she is, sort of, and not being scared by her and then being killed. I just love everything about this campy, cheesy, perfect 80s classic. So I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. Then we have our final 2. Number 2 on this list for me is Part 4, A Final Chapter. The introduction of Tommy Jarvis, the best protagonist in the entire series, played expertly by my favorite actor of protagonist in the series, Corey Feldman. I love the way this is done. I love the secluded camp setting. I love Corey Feldman in this. He plays the great, awkward, Jason-esque child. I love the sister in this movie. Their relationship is great. I love the close-knit family in the secluded cabin. I love the rainy weather. I love, I think the twins were in this movie. I like Ted White as Jason. This was just done so well. This was, Joe Zito directed this, and is one of the best directors in the series. He also directed The Prowler. He's excellent in this. Having them use Tommy to shave his head and kind of be like the next Jason, and kind of kill him by having Jason fall on the blade, and having them knock his mask off and just see the face of Jason, and all the awesome makeup, which I think was done by Tom Savini in this chapter. I love the whole thing about this. The environment's perfect. Tommy Jarvis plays the best foil. This is just wonderful. I give this also an 8 out of 10. I love this movie. Please go check it out. And finally, number 1, if you haven't figured out by now what number 1 is, my favorite in the entire series, Part 6, Jason Lives. Tom McLaughlin directed this and brought this back after the monstrosity that was Part 5. Tom McLaughlin brought this back and did such a nice job. This is, in my opinion, the best mixture of horror and comedy for a cheesy movie to not take itself too seriously and have jokes, but also still treat the character of Jason serious and treat the violence seriously and not be too over the top. This mixture of horror comedy is perfect for me. I love what Tom McLaughlin did. I love the soundtrack to this, A Man Behind the Mask with Alice Cooper, the music video, and using the rock influence. I love some of the lines, like the Visa card, never leave home without it. I love the kids saying, what were you going to be when you grew up? I love seeing Jason be around kids. I love Tommy Jarvis being brought back in this movie as well, and his mission of trying to kill Jason the whole time. The interplay with the sheriff and the sheriff's daughter and the town not believing him and the sheriff's daughter being a rebel, and I liked her character. This, again, had everything. Had good music, had iconic images of Jason standing on top of the trailer that was blown up. You saw the destroyed trailer running to the side with Jason just on top of it. I love the decapitation of the 3 paintballers in the beginning. One of probably the best kills of the entire series in this movie, with him being stronger. The imagery is great. The music is great. I love the gore in this. I love the mix of horror comedy. Tom McLaughlin was amazing. And I love this final chapter of Tommy dragging Jason back down into the lake where he began, tied to the rock floating underneath Crystal Lake. So, well done. Excellent verbiage. Good comedy. That's by far my favorite. I give that one a 9 out of 10. I'm going to bump a couple of these up to 8.5, but I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. So overall, to recap the list, I gave you guys my rankings. This one's a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give my entire feedback once again. So, from worst to first, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, the remake, Jason Takes Manhattan, A New Beginning, 3D, Part 2, A New Blood, Part 1 the original, The Final Chapter, and Jason Lives. From worst to first, there you go, my review of the 11 original Friday the 13th movies in the series. That's my take on the franchise and my brief thoughts, rambling as I might be, on each one of those. What did you guys think? Is my list accurate? What is your list? Post your worst to first. Post your 11 rankings down below. Talk about your favorite movie and why. Talk about stuff that I might have left out or things that I might have ranked too low or too high. Talk in the comments below, guys. This has been one of my all-time favorite series, Friday the 13th franchise ranking review. So talk in the comments below about this, guys. I'm coming back next week, and I hope to do Halloween for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this franchise review and ranking, come back next week. I'll be doing all the original Halloween movies, including the remakes. So come back with me and join me next week for that. Until next time, guys, stay scared, dim the lights, lock your doors, enjoy the movies. Jason is out there.